Welcome to Unapologetically Badass, the podcast for women over 40 who are done dimming their light. I'm your host, Renee Fleming, coach, queen, and master of the midlife glow up. Solo chats, epic guests, no filter. Let's freaking go. Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to an incredible episode of Unapologetically Badass. I am your host, Renee Fleming, and I am so excited for this conversation. We are going to get into this because today's conversation is going to hit a little differently. If you built a life that looks successful on paper, but something underneath feels a little bit off, then this is so for you. I'm sitting down with Dr. Cynthia Bentzen-Mercer, former C-suite executive, PhD level social psychologist, and the woman behind the Stop Drifting movement. She spent over 30 years leading, 30 years, I call bullshit. You look like you're 25, leading at the highest levels, and then made the boldest move of her life. She chose alignment over achievement. And we're talking about what it really takes to stop drifting, reclaim your direction, and lead your life on your terms. So if you're ready for some truth, not fluff, let's freaking go. Dr. Cynthia, welcome. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, Renee, thank you for having me. I'm so looking forward to this conversation.
Yes. So, okay, let's go from the beginning. So what was your background? What was your success? And then we'll get into where you are.
Yeah. So quick synopsis, had an undergrad in broadcasting and film, thought I would retire Barbara Walters. She would never retire. So I had to find something else to do. I landed in business while just looking for something to pay the bills in kind of a commercial property management company. And I fell in love with business. I fell in love with numbers and negotiation and working with people. And I had an amazing female mentor, which so many women don't have early in their professional careers. Somebody that's, at an advanced role, especially back then, 35 years ago. And she was so inclusive. And I was like, that's what I want to be. I don't exactly know what I'm going to do, but I want to wear a suit and I want to lead people. And like, that looks really, really fun.
Yeah.
They had an opening in training and development, and it was a great opportunity to combine sort of my business acumen with my communication background.
Mm-hmm.
And that led me down the path of human resources, which just kept growing and expanding, multiple different industries. But for me, it was always about bringing business to human resources, not the other way around. Like, I always led with sort of a business mind, and then how do we organize people around that? Which I think back then was unique. I mean, you still hear people talking about how HR gets a seat at the table. And I'm like, show up and be valuable, people invite you back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that was just sort of a growth trajectory leading up to the last 13 years of my corporate career. I had sort of grown and expanded responsibilities at a large health system and was the chief administrative officer there. And I know we'll jump into this, but it was there that my position was eliminated when I was a month away from turning 56 years old. So that changed everything. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So yes, a lot of women find themselves at a certain stage of their lives,
Right.
that either life happens to them or they become empty nester, and like things happen.
Right.
But so what was that? Okay. So this happened to you, you lost your position. And at that age, it's hard to be marketable for another job. What did that do to you, like also psychologically? Because that's a big hit going now. What next?
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing, and this is what I'm so passionate about, Renee, is that I had an advantage that I didn't realize until after the fact. And this is the message I want every woman to hear. And that is, I was feeling restless. I was feeling stuck, stagnant, etc. We were going through a CEO change. I wasn't feeling great about how that was going to all work out for me. Now, mind you, I had been responsible for the succession planning. I knew for a decade I had been nurturing the succession plan because of my role. Um, but the incoming gentleman, CEOs want their own team, et cetera, et cetera. And I wasn't sure that it was going to land well for me. Prior to that, I thought it's time for me to write this book that I'd been envisioning for all these years. And so my thought partner, Kimberly Rath, and I started doing research about the book that ultimately became Now Near Next. And we learned that women around the globe become restless throughout their career when they're not fully actualized. I have more to do, I have more to give, I have more to offer, and I just feel stuck or stagnant or restless. And we believed that the key to solving for that was intentionality. You have to work on your next now, right? Work on your future today. Don't wait. Don't kick the can down the road until the kids go off to school or graduate college or empty nest, which is what we do.
Yeah.
So bottom line is I drank my own champagne. And so as I was writing Now Near Next, I was building my next. I was like, the time I was 54, 55 years old, writing the book. And I thought someday, 5 years from now, in my encore career, I want to write, I want to coach, I want to keynote, right? That was my vision. So I started doing little bit by little bit of the work. I got my coaching certification. I just started planting little seeds while doing my day job with excellence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when that day came, June 26, 2023, going on 3 years ago now, the first thing I did, and to long way around to answer your question, is it felt like a kick in the teeth, right? I saw it coming.
Yeah.
I was, no matter what level of emotional preparedness, it is just never, when you've had this illustrious career,
Right.
and then suddenly somebody doesn't want you,
Yeah.
and your position's eliminated, right? That is a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
And I mean, I went home and licked my wounds and felt like a POS and all the things, and thought, oh my God, all I've ever known is corporate. I know that if I work hard, every 2 weeks, a paycheck shows up. I'm going to have to, as a single woman, empty nester, I'm going to have to relocate to another city to find some C-suite job at this stage in my life, which sounds terrifying.
Right.
Right. And exhausting. Or I had been working on my next.
Yeah.
I can just accelerate my plan and go for it, which is what I did. That is the message to every person listening, is start working on your future today, because life's messy.
Yes, absolutely. And I really wish, I loved that you said that. I can't wait to dive into the book because, having these conversations, we wish that we were taught this as a young woman, because the younger selves of us, right? We have this trajectory and we know where we're going and what, like you said, I'm going to wear the suit, I'm going to do this, and life is going to work out perfectly. But it's like, no, life is going to kick you in your teeth often. It's, what do you learn from it? How do you grow from it? And that planning ahead, the insight that you had to plan for that next. And I talk a lot about multiple streams of income. I mean, that's like if you do not have, I say, never mind plan B, you need plan B, C, D, G, E, and fucking F. Like,
I love that. Yeah.
Because you don't know what's going to happen. And wouldn't you agree? Now I'm faithful. I always see this is God's way of pushing you to the lane and your path that you were supposed to go, right? Like, you knew for years, like, where this was going, where it was planning, and you were prepared, but you're like, you started writing the book, and he's like, okay, like, when are you going to make the move? When are you going to make the move, Cynthia? I'm going to knock you over the head with a brick.
Yeah. My sister said, this is God going, hold my beer, I've got this, right? Like, you're not going to do this.
Yeah.
And that's where drift comes in. And I think this is such an important parallel, because because here's what I would have done, what I was doing. I was like, you know what? The new CEO's coming in. I can sort of make myself small enough, live, sort of get by for 3 years. And I knew I financially could retire in 3 years and be fine if I wanted to. Or if it goes better than I was expecting and things turn differently, I'll work another, this work, right? I'll never retire. I mean, this is my encore.
Mhm,
I'll continue to do corporate for another 5 years.
mhm.
So I mean, in my mind, it was like I can make myself small enough and coast and get along, you know, for the next 3 years. That's drift. And it's avoidant drift.
Yeah.
Rather than saying, maybe there's something more out there for me. Maybe there's something I'm called to do that's bigger, better, more part of what I'm meant to be. That's, by the way, going to give me more joy, more fulfillment, right?
Mhm.
And you can't put a price tag on that to some degree.
Yeah.
Um, I would have stuck it out. And so, yeah, as much as it sucked to get, eliminated,
Mhm.
um, for a whole lot of reasons, it was the best thing ultimately that happened to
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you also like when you're talking to other women, because so many women feel like they're stuck, but it's that fear that holds them back, right? There, and especially for those that need that paycheck. They're
Right.
going, "Oh my God, I can't make a change. I need this," right? So tell us more about this now, near, next, because that probably lays the foundation for
It
this.
does. It absolutely does. So the framework of now, near, next is really, I mean, the through line once again, and I repeat this a lot because I think that this is the thing people need to hear and take with them. Start working on your future today. Right? Because every person we spoke to, we studied over 30 women, qualitative interviews around the world, 5 race ethnicities, 4 countries, a 20-year age span. We did quantitative research. The commonality, regardless of race, background, country of origin, et cetera, is that women grow restless because they become unactualized, largely because we're taught to put your head down, work hard, and wait to get tapped.
Mhm.
Right? So what we talk about is do your day job with excellence. Nobody's saying go give notice tomorrow because your job stinks or you don't like your boss or what have you, right? With the price of gas and everything else, most of
Yeah,
us need an income right now.
right.
And frankly, no matter how much you make, you live within whatever most of us live within that means, right? And so we can't just go cold turkey. Um, so do your day job with excellence, but identify your next. Is it finishing a degree? Is it a certification? Is it serving on a board? Is it a promotion? Is it a lateral move that gives you broader experience, right? There's no one answer. It's
Mhm.
what's your aspirational next, right? And Renee, I would say this even applies to you and me. So even in this part of my life, I'm going, what is my aspirational next, right? And then it's identify it,
Mhm.
pick a date certain by when you want that to happen. So,
Yeah.
in 18 months, I want this. I'm going to establish this new service line of my business, or I'm going to go get this certification, or whatever it might be.
Right.
And then you back into it, and it's a 2/3, 1/3. So from now to near, so 2/3 of the time frame. So using 18 months, that
Yeah.
would be what, 14 months. So for 14 months, am I doing that right? No, a year, a year. So for a year, 2/3 of 18 months, for a year, you're going to take baby steps. You're going to take classes that maybe take a while to get done
Mhm.
because you're doing a day job. Maybe you're still raising children. Maybe you have aging parents, right? We find somebody to pour into.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
busy people, right? Women are busy people.
Yeah.
So you do it at your pace.
Right.
And then from near to next is when you hit the accelerator. That last 6 months of that 18-month journey, now I'm really getting after it. Now I'm applying to jobs or, getting ready to graduate that thing or getting ready for my book to go into editing, whatever it is. But here's what's liberating about that. It's amazing how when you go into work, and when we're talking, professionally right now, but when you go into work, if that's where you feel stuck or stagnant, when you know you're building something else, whether that's a side hustle, I mean, you can do a lot. You can show up a lot when you know that you aren't beholden, that your entire life and future is not in the hands of this organization.
Yeah. Oh, 1000%. And it is that feeling when you own something, when
Right.
this is so our babies, all the things that we get to do, it's such an incredible feeling of
Mhm.
to do this. And like you said, it's that what's next. I
Yeah.
have a whiteboard and I look at this every day in my office and it's like, these are the things that I'm doing. Here's where I'm going. Like it is
Yes.
a branch of all of these different opportunities that I see because of the path.
That's
But
right.
so many women, especially over 50,
Oh, yeah.
like us, are going, I don't even know what that is,
Right.
right? And it's so important to take this time and reflect on what lights you up because we only have one shot at this. And
Yeah.
we're in, the next chapter, next phase of our lives. It's like if you don't do it now,
Yeah. It's
what?
you're exactly. Time does, time is not gonna reinvent itself.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we start the book chapter 1 is all about embracing grace because we had a lot of women who were at the point of life where they were trying to balance family and career, et cetera, and the very first thing that they would say when we would say, "Start working on your future today," is, I don't have time for that. Like, would feel guilty investing in myself, and so we cover that straight away, right? As we get 50 plus, generally speaking, we start to have a little bit more time or a little bit more control of our time. That may not be true for every woman, especially if you have aging parents or
Right.
sandwich generation, you had kids later, et cetera. But for the most part, chapter 2 is all about what is your purpose?
Yeah.
Right? What is your unique mission statement? Not the one on the wall
Yeah.
at your organization. Your unique mission statement, your unique vision, what you really feel called to do. And that can evolve and change as we
Yeah.
grow, right? And
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
And then to your point about a lot of women don't know, like, well, I don't even know what should be next.
Mhm.
Chapter 3 and 4 get into understanding your natural gifts and talents.
Yeah.
Because at the base of it is this, I call them God-given gifts and talents. It's,
Mhm.
whatever your spiritual
Yeah.
belief system is, it's bigger than us, right? We were all wired to do and to be gifted at certain things and not other things.
Mhm.
None of us walk on water, right? There's people that are extremely creative and that brings them joy and they're naturally good at it. Other people are incredibly organized and detail oriented and that brings them joy. What is that thing?
Yeah.
What are those things, right? Because they tend to be many. And then how do you monetize that?
Yes. Yeah.
What is that thing and what are all the paths? And then go after that thing. For me, I got my doctorate in my 50s.
What?
And
Yeah.
part of it was I knew at that point, I didn't know I'd be where I'm
Mhm.
at the time I was where I'm at. But for me, it was a bucket list thing. It's not gonna make me any more money in my professional career. I had reached the pinnacle of my sort of corporate
Mhm.
professional career in my mind, but I'm a learner. It was interesting. It filled my cup, and I thought, someday when I'm coaching and authoring books, that'll be a nice part of my credibility.
Right.
But I did it little bitty baby steps while I was working
Mhm.
after my kids were out of the house.
Mhm. Mhm. And I love that. And it is, we do have all of these God-gifted talents and abilities, but it takes some of us a little bit longer to realize what those are, right?
That's right.
Because of all the distractions in real life, people, women, we don't focus on ourselves, we focus on everybody else. So when
Everybody
you
else.
finally realize what you want to do, it's so wonderful to see women really go after what they want. And like you had said, so many women, we were taught to wait until you're tapped. And I
Mhm.
love that. And my philosophy from when I started my entrepreneurial career was after the age of 40. That's when I started becoming an entrepreneur. And for me, it was through divorce and it was a necessity to do something. But I
Right.
had this attitude of watch me. and I wrote a book. Watch Me was my acronym, right? It
Love
was
it.
withdraw from explanation. I don't owe an explanation to anyone what I'm doing. And I
Right.
want other women to feel that, right? Act without approval. Take up space publicly. A lot of
Mm.
people are like, I don't want to do it because, oh, how am I going to look? How are other people going to feel about me? And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like,
Right.
feel what, do you, boo? That's okay. But the
Mhm.
whole watch me, don't wait until you're tapped. Like, get out there and just do it and have fun. Because as you can see from your energy and your excitement, you love what you do.
Oh, absolutely. I 1000% love what I do. There
Yeah.
isn't a day that I don't
Yeah.
look forward to what I get to do, feel
Yeah.
privileged to do every day. And I love that because here's the thing, we use a metaphor of being on a merry-go-round, right? It's like early in career, you're driven, you're hungry, you're all the things, and then life gets busy and messy and chaotic and you sort of go, okay, people are like, put your head down, work hard, good things will happen. And you're like, okay, that's a convenient thing to do because I'm taking care of everyone else. And so you get on and you're, on the zebra and around you go, and you've got your head down. And at some point you get that, I feel like there's something more for me. I feel like I should be in a different place. And you look up and most of the writers have changed on this merry-go-round, right? The men, bless their hearts, we need to steal a page out of their playbook. They're, over on the roller coasters.
Yeah.
They've left us in their dust, and we're
Yeah.
still sitting there on the same damn zebra going in circles.
Yeah.
And there's so much conditioning around that. Largely it's that when you're in elementary school and academics in general, I mean, I'm generalizing a lot, but I think there's truth and data in this. Little girls are taught to sit still, be quiet, be kind, keep your hands to yourself, all the things. And for the most part, we're pretty dutiful and we do the thing. And little boys have lots of energy and they're, wiggly and chaotic and throwing, spit wads and all of that. And we get our little gold stars because we're sitting there being quiet and raising our hand and waiting our turn. And then we get out of academics and we get into corporate, and these little boys have grown up and they're channeling their energy differently, but they're looking up and they're looking forward and they're raising their hand. And we're still following the pattern of, and
Right.
believe it deeply, like,
Yeah.
my work should speak for itself. Like,
Right.
I work really hard and I do really good work. And I can't believe they overlooked me for that promotion or
Mhm.
that, opportunity. And oftentimes, because I've been a leader for many, many years, the leader doesn't know you have an interest.
Right.
And
Right.
it's not necessarily shame on the leader. I
Yeah.
mean, yes, I would argue leaders should be asking those questions and investing in those career conversations. But listen, ladies, if we don't self-advocate, people are not mind readers.
Right. Right.
So we have to say, this is my aspiration. Here's what I'm hoping to do with my future. How
Yeah.
can you help me do this?
I love that. And that's what I have so many conversations with clients and with women. It's all about visibility.
Mhm.
You don't have to be the best in a specific industry, but you have to be visible.
That's right.
And that goes whether you work corporate job or you're an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Talking to so many women, the power of personal branding and being out there on social media, regardless of the industry that you're in, especially, and I'm speaking on this at a conference, especially with the impact of AI and what
Mhm.
that does to, we see so many corporate jobs being lost, or so many jobs, period, being lost. But as entrepreneurs, we look at that going, well, that's an opportunity,
I agree.
an
100%.
opportunity for everyone who has the visibility, who has the personal brand to become that fractional worker, that contractual worker. When a company sees them online and go, wow, they're an expert in engineering. I want this one over this resume.
That's right. The
So,
100%.
right.
You have to work those. And, there's a lot of controversy about LinkedIn right now and algorithms and all the
Mhm.
things. But the bottom line is it remains, in my opinion, the best place to
Yeah.
curate sort of that professional network and sort of be seen and get your voice out there and get your thought leadership out there. I also, you raised something I think is really important. I think there's so many people that add to everything we've talked about is AI going to take my job, right? And replace all of us. And I firmly believe I'm an eternal optimist. I don't think that we're all going to be,
Right.
sitting at home while robots do everything.
Yeah.
But here's the bottom line.
But just in case, I'm really nice to my chat
I
GPT.
am
Say,
too. Oh,
thank
me
you.
too. I please and thank
Yeah.
you. I
Her name is
good
Laura.
morning.
We have such a relationship. Just in case she comes back, like takes over.
I feel the same way. I know. Claude always goes coffee and a coffee with Claude. I'm like, good morning. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
I
Now
know.
I work with both. I've got Claude and Laura. So
Oh, there you go. I use chat, but Laurel.
Laura, I named my chat
Oh, you
GPT
named your
Laura.
chat. Oh, nice. I love that. I
Yeah,
should name mine.
yeah.
Um,
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no,
That's
no, no, no. To
yeah.
that point, though, I love that. To that point, what about you is uniquely human? And when you think about your God-given gifts and talents, where does what you have show up as uniquely human? And what are the industries that are going to continue to rely on that which is uniquely human? I think that's a differentiator. I think that that can be something where instead of being afraid of it and freaking out about it, take time to really consider where do you have capabilities, and if you need to hone those further, hone them further. Like if you're an accountant and you're really good at sort of math and spreadsheets, and we know that most of these AI technologies can spit those out for us. Okay, well, now I have to be more of a creative problem solver. Now I have to be more of but what do I see in the data that we need to be looking out for? What do I know that the computer doesn't know about other market trends that
Yeah.
aren't yet public knowledge?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I would encourage a
Right.
sense of that purpose and where's my natural talent in this world of automation is to think about it in terms of what do I do that is that computers can augment,
Right.
technology can augment, not replace.
Yes, absolutely. And it's sharing that knowledge with others,
Right.
sharing your uniqueness. A lot of people, especially women, really hesitate with promoting themselves,
Oh, 100%.
right? And sharing what they know. Again, that whole fear, right? We can talk about that for hours. But when you do take up that space publicly, when you stop being waited to be tapped and you start sharing, that visibility can change the trajectory of your life no matter what stage you're in. There's
Mhm.
so many things that probably you have done post career, and I know for me as well, that I would never have thought of. But as
Right.
you start building and growing and relationship building with others and networking and having conversations, you're invited into different things. You're seeing different things that make you go, "Oh, I'm gonna try this. Let me explore this. This
That's
I
right.
never thought of doing it this way." So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it
right. On the topic of self-advocacy, one of the things we talk about, one of the chapters talks about is the difference between self-promoting and self-advocacy.
Mhm.
Now, one could argue, is it, we're just splitting hairs there, but we intentionally define it differently because women do struggle with um, talking about their successes, talking about their wins, right? And so we talk about it from the aspect of self-promoting feels ugly and wrong and all the things. And quite frankly, women are harder on other women when it comes to that, right? Um, because men are pretty comfortable in that space. But self-advocating, we talk about it ways in which you can talk about your wins, your successes, use data, use evidence, use results, talk about if there's a team involved, talk about the team. So you can say things like, I'm really excited to share with you that we were able to accomplish a return on investment of X, or
Yeah.
we lowered time to fill by Y, or right. So you're not saying, look at me, I saved the
Absolutely.
company a ton of money. You're
Mhm.
saying, I'm excited to report that we had these results.
Right, right.
And so there's ways to do it to help women feel more comfortable. And the other thing I want to mention, because you talked about relationships and how it's shown up for us. What surprised me when I went out on my own was, because I'd never been an entrepreneur
Yeah.
ever, was people that I had worked with 25 years ago who reached out and wanted to talk to me about my executive coaching or hired me for a keynote. These are people that I worked with 3 and 4 companies ago
Right.
that I hadn't seen or talked to in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the relationship we had then and the
Absolutely.
credibility that had been built at that point,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of my all really of my very first clients were people that had crossed my path at some point. So those relationships matter. Having those relationships inside your company and outside your company.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is the stuff that AI cannot
Can't
replace.
replace.
Is relationships. So being
Mhm.
your authentic self and, showing up and having conversations, that's key. Now,
Yeah.
near next, where can everyone find your book?
Yeah, so it's on Amazon and wherever great books are sold. So it does have a companion guide. You can also just use a journal of your own if you'd like. But what I like about it is it follows the book and gives you a really nice place to sort of. It's very action oriented. Every chapter you go through, ask questions, and you build your blueprint. So by the time you finish the book, you have a blueprint to go activate to take on your next.
That's fantastic. And what is near next for you?
Oh gosh. So I'm just starting next month a live show. So I have a podcast as well, Climbing the Corporate Ladder Without Breaking a Heel. And yeah, it's a
I love
sister to this badass space that you've
it.
got going. And yeah, so I'm starting a live show for guests around around drift. I find that we've talked a lot about potential and prosperity, but women drift in relationships. People drift in
Mhm.
relationships. We drift in purpose, and we drift in our physiological health. Are we paying enough attention to our mental health and our physical health? And so oftentimes we pour so much into one aspect of our life that
Yeah.
we put the others on autopilot. And if I could really quick just mention, the framework has a 7-minute pivot. And my challenge to every person listening is that we can all find 7 minutes,
Yeah.
right? It's more than 5, it's less than 10.
Mhm.
There's a free guide on my website, which I know you'll have in the show notes. So it's a free guide and a free diagnostic survey. Where are you drifting today in any of those 5 dimensions? And then 7 minutes a day to just move baby steps toward a more positive direction.
I love that. Those baby steps really, when you take action in that will be a total game changer. So yes, we'll definitely have the website in the show notes. Anything else you want to share or have the audience follow you? Where can they connect with you?
Yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. I've got my link tree on there that'll take you to books, podcasts, all the things. I think the biggest thing is start working on your future today and
Yeah.
find me at dr-cynthia.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for
Thank
sharing your
you.
brilliance, your journey. This has been such a powerful episode. Everyone, please go follow Dr. Cynthia. Go connect with her. Grab her free guide that's really going to change your day, your week, your life. So go ahead and do that. I know that I will. And stay tuned for the next Unapologetically Badass. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wrap for today, Queen, but don't just walk away inspired, walk away activated. If this episode lit a fire under your fabulous ass, hit that follow button, leave a review, and share it with your fiercest ride or die. Your support helps this podcast reach even more women who are ready to reclaim their power. And hey, if you're ready to look, feel, and earn like $1,000,000 freaking bucks, I've got an entire badass empire waiting for you. From confidence boosting merch to brand strategy, coaching, collagen, content, and everything in between, head on over to reneecarbonefleming.com or tap the link in the show notes. Pick your flavor of badass and let's turn midlife into your power era. Stay bold, stay unapologetic, and wear the damn crown.